So it's been a very long time since I've talked actually on this channel about Injustice 3, I think. I think one of the last videos I made about it was a couple years ago, just kind of asking, do people even want it? And since then, it's been mostly radio silence from NetherRealm, mostly radio silence from WB regarding the properties. The comics haven't really been going at all. The Injustice as a brand just kind of went silent. And I do want to clarify today that, like, for this, I'm not reporting, like, a leak or anything like that. I'm not going to be showing anything that is, like, classified information or anything like that. Just like a lot of news outlets have done, I am going to be reporting on comments made by people regarding the voice actors, which seem to really point to Injustice 3 being in the cards and being something that is being worked on right now. Now, that does not mean that it is confirmation. I have not heard anything about this myself from anybody I know who works around WB Games or anybody I know who is a YouTuber who knows people with WB. But in general, it is interesting, and this is transformative. If WB tries to strike this down or anything, I can point to 24 news articles and probably a dozen other YouTube videos already talking about this that are still up. It's very interesting because this was actually pointed out a little bit ago on Twitter from user Brendan_Batman, who met voice actor George Newbern, who's the voice of Superman, especially in Injustice. And according to Brendan_Batman, and I'm reading this from The Gamer, but it's also something I saw on Twitter, Newbern replied to a comment about his work on multiverses by saying that he's currently working on Injustice 3. Now, what's interesting about this is that this has since been deleted by Brendan, but what he actually posted on Twitter was, yesterday I finally met my favorite voice actor for Superman, George Newbern. I was telling him he's the definitive as the voice for me and how much I loved the game Multiverses. In response to my Multiverses comment, he told me he's currently working on Injustice 3. Now, this was posted on August 23rd. It recently started picking up traction because nobody really saw it before then. But here's the interesting thing. It was since deleted. It was actually deleted by the person who had posted this, Brendan, who then followed it up. So we're going to look at that today. And we're going to look at the other comment from a different voice actor surrounding the Injustice games and DC that I think kind of points to the same thing. But I do have a question of the day for you, which is, in general, if we are getting Injustice 3, what would you want out of it? Like for me, I kind of would like to leave behind the Regime universe. I'd kind of like to just go more, like maybe a reboot or something, towards like an actual just normal DC Comics type universe, personally. But I do still think there's cool stuff you could do in that universe. I mean, I've said it before, if you're going to put other DC characters in there, I know it's a cardinal sin to some people, but I'd love to see Rorschach in there from Watchmen. But regardless, I'm interested in your thoughts down below. Now, what's interesting about this is that Brendan did go on to delete that tweet or that post on X, whatever you want to call it, later on, posting on August 29th, saying, I want to apologize to everyone. I gave the wrong impression here about this, but this isn't a leak or what I meant. I think I got caught up in the heat of the moment and was making a guess off what he said. My mistake, I worded this incorrectly. My apologies. And when somebody asked, did WB drop you a message, pointing out you were retweeting articles a few hours ago confirming your posts, now you're retracting your statement. This is implying a representative from WB possibly contacted you. And then Brendan said, I did this under my own accord. This was posted a week ago. I forgot about it until all this traction came. What I said, I wrote incorrectly and did not mean for the attention it got. Which I think is interesting as somebody who's been hit before with like WB kind of abusing, I truly believe, in my opinion, abusing DMCA law in order to try and silence stuff they don't want out. Because, like, you can't do that. I mean, you can, because no one can take you to court because you have more money. But in general, like, if somebody says something to me, I'm not under NDA. You know what I mean? Like, I can say, hey, this happened. Like, I'm not under any kind of NDA. So it's like, in one way, that's transformative. That's reporting the news. So WB can't really do that, but they do that. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen them do that before, where like people have reported stuff or talked about things that weren't supposed to get out, and it wasn't the person under NDA, it wasn't anything like that, and WB will hit them with a copyright strike or something like that to try and silence them. We have seen that before. That's what Brendan's retraction comes off as to me, someone who's dealt with that before. It's one reason why I largely quit working with WB Games, like when I was actually, like more in contact with them. I just got sick of that. I got sick of them using those copyright tools to try and kind of bully people into being quiet and not reporting what they didn't want them to report. It was something they did for a while around multiple games. It kind of irritated me, and for a long time I didn't really want to talk about WB Games because of that. But what's interesting with this is this wasn't the only person who pointed this out. Like, this wasn't the only time that this was brought up, because it was actually also brought up by user Danny Soul Zero, also about Injustice and Injustice 3, saying that, he actually got the voice actor for Jon Stewart in Injustice 2, which is Phil Lamar, to sign his Injustice 2 Steelbook, which then Lamar outright had said to him that basically NetherRealm was working on Injustice 3, according to his statement, which I do still have these screenshotted. Like, I can show you the statements. Like I said, it's not like some kind of leaked underground memo. It's just multiple people saying this, which is also why I want to clarify it's not confirmed. Like, this could all be BS. People could be lying. You never know. When it all is kind of coming up at once like this, it doesn't seem like lying to me, but you never know. But it's interesting because when he actually said it, he said that when the Steelbook was handed back to him, that Phil Lamar just straight up said, they're making another one. They're doing Injustice 3. So, I don't know. The situation around this is weird. Like, you have people retracting their statements. You have WB kind of just staying quiet on it. You have NetherRealm. They've kind of just stayed quiet on the Injustice brand for multiple years. But you also have people like James Gunn pointing out that they want to do more with DC games, both around the DCU, the movie universe, but also just in general. They want to do more with DC games. They feel like it's an untapped potential, like an untapped well that could be a lot bigger. This would line up with that. Injustice is proven. I know a lot of people don't like Injustice. It's a proven seller. It sells. That's something WB needs, is they need something that sells, that is not a question of like, will we get this off the ground? That's why Lego Batman's such a safe bet. It's why Injustice 3 would be a safe bet. It's why a Batman Arkham game is a safe bet. Now, I want plenty of unsafe bets too, but WB is going to be pushing for wins that are guaranteed at first, because they've had a rough last, I would say, 10 years in the games department, and even to some regard in the movies department, with actually getting things to sell. But I'm interested to see what you think down below about all of this. Do you think that this is real? Do you not? Why or why not? And what would you want to see in another Injustice game? If you enjoyed this video, you want to leave a like, subscribe, I appreciate that very much. It goes to help support this channel. You can use Fortnite code DJAY123 as well. And also, we have coasters, keychains, trays, and more, all kinds of great stuff, one of a kind, over on our store, cosmobunny.shop. If you like one of a kind, unique things, all that stuff over there made out of repurposed comics and manga that have been damaged. We transformatively take that paper, turn it into a new medium, and recycle the rest and keep it out of landfills. Discount code DJAY123 gets you 10% off your first purchase over there. I just ran out of breath. Geez. Have a fantastic day, and as always, everyone, stay shway.